What makes a person cheap? Is it the amount that they spent on non-essentials? Is it the quality of their toiletries? Or is it their willingness and uncapped enthusiasm for eating garbage? Extreme Cheapskates was a show about people who will go at any lengths to save money. Sometimes these lengths are dumb as hell and make no sense. We're going to take a look at 2 episodes here today from the first and last season respectively. The first episode is about...
I'm a licensed CPA, and I've lived in New York for 3 years. Although it is the most expensive city to live in, I found ways to get around it. I have only $1.30 here. Would you take that? If I have to spend money, I cannot avoid it. I will try to pay as little as possible.
Kate lives in New York City, which is famously known for being expensive. So it makes sense that, somebody living in New York City would want to be thrifty and maybe cut some corners to try to save some cash. Kate is not thrifty. Thrifty is too mild of a word. I would describe Kate as... There doesn't really exist a word that kind of describes Kate. I'm going to try to come up with a word here. Let's call her a scavenger. Kate is a scavenger because instead of paying for food and toiletries, she would rather find these items in a dumpster. She would go scavenging for these items in dumpsters and garbage cans and other areas where you might find trash, and that's where she'll get the bulk of her necessities. Now, I understand that we live in a wasteful culture. There's a lot of things that we throw away that could be repurposed or recycled or donated and such. As much as I believe in zero waste and everything here, I also just don't trust people at all.
Now this is pretty dirty, but this one looks much cleaner. This works well and it's much cleaner.
So she gets a chair from the dumpster and she says that, it's clean. You don't know that. It may look clean, but for all you know, it could have been a poop chair. It could have been a chair that somebody used to shave their ass and balls and such. Or it could have been a poop chair. It could have been a chair that somebody could have used to poop on. You don't know these people. People could have pooped on that chair.
I own my own home free and clear. I just have to pay real estate taxes and condo fees.
She owns her own place, which means she doesn't even have to worry about the one thing that most people living in New York have to worry about, which is rent. Right now, to rent a studio apartment in New York City, it costs $1,200 and up. So she doesn't even have to worry about rent. Property taxes can be a little high, but I guarantee you it's not as expensive as rent. And she's a CPA too, and CPAs, from the research that I've done, obviously this is going off of Glassdoor salary things, so obviously it could be a little off, but from what I've read, CPAs make on average between $50,000 and $140,000 per year in the city of New York. How much do you think is in her savings account? They don't go into this stuff on the show. They don't say, okay, well, she spends this much on food and this much on rent and this much on other necessities and things like that, but here's how much she's putting away and here's how much is in her savings account. She's eating garbage. Shh. Tell me how much is in her savings account.
This is my bed where I sleep, and these are actually yoga mats that somebody was trying to get rid of, so I took them.
God, and she's got her bed off the street too. There's not even a bed. It's yoga mats that she found on the street. And she was like, I could sleep on that. You don't know what could have happened on these yoga mats. You're going to risk getting bed bugs and roaches and termites and shit to save $30 on a blow up mattress.
Dental floss, contact lens solutions, toothbrushes, toothpastes, free samples of deodorants, free samples of razors. I'm a big fan of free samples. Maybe I'm an extreme sampler.
So she does a lot of sampling. She, gets free samples and stuff for her toiletries, which is probably the least extreme way that she's being a cheapskate.
Whenever I have dirty clothes, I try to wash them while I'm showering.
Please don't wash your clothes in your dirty shower water, please. She lives in an apartment in New York City with no air conditioning in the middle of the summer. She sleeps on garbage and she's washing her clothes in her body water. I mean, even if there's soap in there, I still don't think that's a very clean way of cleaning your clothes. It's very counterproductive, and it's kind of gross.
I have been eating dumpster dived food regularly for 2 years. After graduating from college, I found I was spending about $20 to $25 a week on food. That ends up being like $100 a month. And I was like, how can I spend that much money on food?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe because food is literally what keeps you alive. Maybe that's why you would want to invest just a little bit into that. You know, that way you don't eat bad garbage and die. But no, if you want to take that risk, that's fine. You know what's more expensive than $25 a week on food is getting your stomach pumped, medical bills in general.
These stores are most wasteful, disposing of food that is still edible. There's a lot of lettuce in here. I'm looking for clean, sanitary food. Prepackaged food in sealed packages that have not been opened or tampered with.
I'm sorry, there's just no such thing as clean, sanitary food when you're getting it from a dumpster. Even if it's like in a prepackaged thing, those can be opened. Have we already forgotten the ice cream liquors of 2019? Okay, that's not fair. This was from like 2011, but the point still stands. People be gross, and I don't trust them.
I eat dumpster dive food that sometimes has been expired for months or even years. More options for my friends.
So her friend and her friend's girlfriend are coming over for dinner.
Turkey meatloaf meal with 2 sides. Smells okay.
So she decides to feed them some of the garbage she found. Yum, my favorite meal, hot garbage.
As a friend, I know how cheap she is, so I came to visit Kate to see her in action.
This mattress was from a dorm dumpster dive.
Aren't you afraid it's got like stuff on it?
Roaches on it?
But I do have the plastic bags over it, so like dust mites don't accumulate in there.
That's not something I would do, no.
They have a good point, though. Do you want lice? This is how you get lice. There's something about hearing the word lice that really makes your head itch, especially when it follows you have or you've given us all.
What is that?
I don't know.
Doesn't look very appetizing.
It doesn't.
What is it?
These are the vegetables with turkey and chicken, mashed potatoes. And then this is a chicken fried rice.
So everything's in the same pot? The turkey?
Yeah, this is a medley.
It's a medley of garbage. I know I'm using this word a lot, garbage. When it literally is garbage, it's hard not to use that term. She is now putting her friends at risk for eating garbage. And she's not even telling them. I mean, I'm sure they assume that they are about to eat garbage, but she doesn't even tell them. So if you're going to put your stuff at that risk, that's fine. You're making that choice. But don't put others at risk, without their knowledge.
How does it taste?
I don't know, it just doesn't seem fresh to me. As a friend, I know how she lives, so I suspected the food came from the dumpster. And where did you get this food from?
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise.
If I asked somebody where they got the food that we were about to eat and they told me that it was a surprise, and I knew that they regularly ate garbage on pretty much a daily basis, I personally would just nope the hell right out of there.
What does that chicken taste like? So where did it come from?
She's spading them so hard. She's like, "Oh, where did it come from? Where we?" It's like I don't understand what she's expecting. I think she's expecting them to like take a spoonful and be like, yummy. This is so delicious," and she'd be like, "It's garbage," and they'd have like their minds blown. But that's not happening. They are conscious of the fact that something funky is going on here.
The trash.
Oh.
So that was Kate. I don't understand how somebody could live like that. Again, if we knew what this was for, then maybe it would make sense. But to voluntarily not only eat garbage, but sleep on garbage and wash your clothes in your own dirty body water, it doesn't make much sense to me. So that was one extreme. We're going to go to a completely different extreme. This other extreme is the extreme of being a fucking idiot. This is
Like
kids are total cheapskates. They know we don't waste anything. You eat every bite of food on your plate, pick up every penny you see. Good job, mister.
Okay, your kids are not extreme cheapskates. You handed them a piggy bank and took them for a walk and told them to pick up the pennies and dimes and shit they found on the ground. They did not choose to do this themselves. This is, you know, unless this is like their allowance or something, they're probably not actively wanting to do something like this.
I'm Jordan Page, and I'm the ultimate cheapskate housewife. It's all about not wasting anything, and the way to do that is, we call it rationing. I'm gonna give you guys some cereal, okay? We're gonna give you 14, so tell me when to stop. Ready?
Oh, she's literally counting out 14 Cheerios. Okay, that's kind of weird, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, like, I drop 14 Cheerios. I spill 14 Cheerios, just normally. I'll just open up my hand and 14 Cheerios will fall out. This is just normal for me. So for her to physically count out 14 Cheerios to hand to her child and be like, here's your breakfast, that's kind of fucked up.
And remember, you need to eat all your Cheerios, or next time you only get 12.
And the fact that she's threatening to cut down their rations, not only have you called the breakfast rations, but you're going to threaten to cut it down.
How much toilet paper do you think Hut should have?
Jordan has found some of the biggest savings in the bathroom, cutting her family's use of toilet paper from 300 rolls a year to only 40.
The way to stretch your money is to make everything count.
3.
3? Should we do 3? Okay, let's rip 1.
3.
How much do you think Daddy should use?
4.
Jordan always harps on me for using too much toilet paper.
Okay, let's try it.
It's a sensitive subject, but she wants to at least try and make that roll go farther.
That's just forcing your kids into bad hygiene. Don't do that. Oh my God, who smells like shit? Oh yeah, I think that's it's the kid whose mom was on TLC for being cheap. Oh, what, does she like not let them shower or something? Oh no, she just doesn't let them wipe their asses properly. I honestly cannot wait for her starring episode on Extreme Child Protective Services.
On a scale of 1 to 10 of being a cheapskate, 10 being the highest, I'd probably say an 11 or 12.
Oh yeah, she's a cheapskate, huh? How much do you think she paid for that outfit, or her makeup, or how much do you think she spends to get her hair done, and how often do you think she goes to do that? It seems like she's making all of her family sacrifice, but I don't really see her making that many sacrifices here.
When I met Jordan, she would always find a way to get a deal on something.
Shortly after we were married, an opportunity arose for us to build what we thought would be our forever home. Things changed with the economy really fast, and suddenly we couldn't qualify for the loan for the house, but we had already built the house.
Losing the house really triggered, in my opinion, her being an extreme cheapskate.
Oh no, you couldn't get your custom house built, which, by the way, on average cost about twice as much as buying a pre-built home. Oh man, that really does suck. You couldn't get a loan because you opened too many JCPenney cards and your credit went down, and now you can't qualify for a loan to get a custom house built? You had to settle for a house that was already built. Boo fuckity hoo, cry me a river. Obviously, a lot of these claims that I'm making are assumptions, and we all know what happens when you assume. You make a me out of an ass or something. But it's hard to look at the way that they live and the way that she acts and everything, and then feel bad for her or them, because it seems like, again, she's just cutting corners on things that don't affect her at all, which really does piss me off.
And their extreme saving measures allowed them to purchase $1 million home.
The original owners bought it for over $1 million, and we got it on short sale for about $450,000. Then we were scrappy and we sold the basement apartment to my parents for half.
What? That's not being scrappy. That's having a rich daddy who can afford to pay for half of your house. They can say, oh, they bought the basement all they want, but then she's like, oh yeah, we only paid $225,000 for all of this. Congratulations, you fucking piece of shit. That doesn't scrappy at all. That doesn't make you thrifty. There are people who are literally being thrown out of their homes because they cannot afford rent. But you've got a daddy who can just happen to throw you $225,000 for your home. They don't even mention or go over if the parents actually live in the basement. They just say that they paid for the basement.
I was just wondering if you guys had any food that you're not using, like leftovers.
she's not proud. It's like, hey, if you're going on vacation, you need to empty out your fridge, bring it over.
Okay, obviously her mom has no idea what's going on. That or the daughter is lying to her. It's not like she's posting to like the neighborhood Facebook group like, hey, if anybody's leaving for the summer or is going to be away for an extended period of time, if you have any, perishables that, you want to get rid of, just drop them on my doorstep. I'll take care of them. I'll make sure they go to good use. No, she's just in the middle of the day dropping by on her neighbors and being like, hey, give me some fucking lettuce. You don't need to do that. How much money are you saving by not fucking getting lettuce yourself or 2 eggs? All these things that she's doing to try to save money. Oh, we're saving money on getting a fucking roll of toilet paper. Oh, we're saving money on a $3 box of Cheerios. Like, if she was going around making these collections to like bring to like a food shelter or like a soup kitchen or something, then there would be some sort of redeeming quality. But she's like, no, I want the eggs because I want to make eggs and I don't want to have to pay $3.50 for eggs. Ooh.
Hey, Chris, how's it going? I was actually wondering if you guys had any leftovers or any food that you're not using.
I've got some lettuce.
Please, get a hobby. I beg of you, Jesus Christ.
So this is what I like to call an end loaf. In our house, we go through a lot of bread, and a lot of people don't like to eat the heels of bread, but Bubba likes it, my kids love it, and it's still good, so after a while, it makes an entire loaf worth.
Okay, there are like 20 odd pieces of bread in a loaf of bread, right? So that means to get enough to make her own loaf out of the ass slices, you have to go through like 10 loaves of bread. So not only is she only saving like $1 on a loaf of bread, but to go through 10 loaves of bread, even if they go through a crazy amount of bread, that's still 10 full loaves of bread. That's like 240 slices of bread that she has to go through, which means that she's definitely got to be giving her kids like moldy bread. So Child Protective Services, if you're listening, that's starving children, feeding them moldy bread on top of just public humiliation and bad hygiene that you can put on the list of reasons to take her children away.
You can pay upwards of $3.50 per dozen for eggs. You pay $10 for a chicken. 6 chickens later, you're getting a half dozen eggs a day. I mean, that's incredible. That's great savings.
What would our neighbors think of that?
Are you really worried about what your neighbors are going to think? You already begged them for food. What is having a few chickens in your backyard going to do? Is that really going to make that much of a difference? Now she wants to get chickens to make eggs so that she doesn't have to buy eggs.
Oh my gosh, look at all these chickens.
Look at all those chickens.
So how many eggs will each chicken lay?
Chicken will lay an egg about every 26 hours.
Oh, that's awesome. That's like a half dozen a day. That's a lot of eggs.
The farmer just told her that the chickens lay an egg like once every 26 hours. 24 hours in a day, that's like an average of like 6 eggs per week. Multiply that by 6 chickens, that's like 36 eggs per week. Multiply that by 4 weeks. That's like 144 eggs. Divide that by 12 eggs in a dozen. That's about 12 dozen eggs. After doing a little bit of research, to raise 6 chickens, it cost about $83 per month. To buy 12 dozen eggs, using the dollar amount that she said, $3.50, if you were to buy 12 dozen eggs, you would actually be saving $37 compared to raising chickens, feeding them, keeping them healthy, keeping a coop, things like that. You'd be losing, on average, about $37 per month. So all of those tiny little things that you were doing to try to save some money has completely wiped away by what you're about to do.
So this baby would cost $80. Then you would have to pay $30 a month in feed.
At least the baby pig's gonna stay here, so we don't have to take care of it.
And as for the pig, they would have to spend $80 to buy it, $30 per month to keep it fed and everything. It takes about 6 months to get a pig up to standard market weight, which is about 250 pounds. Of that 250 pounds, you'd only get about 120 pounds of edible meat from it. Even if you sell it for $3 a pound, you'd only be saving $100 by doing this. And that $100 savings is only if you are planning on buying 120 pounds of pork product, which, by the way, unless you have like an industrial size freezer or some shit, is gonna go bad. So why are you doing this? Like, I don't understand. I want to try to make light of this, but it kind of just pisses me off a bit, because she's not an extreme cheapskate. She's not doing this for any real means. She's actually spending more money by following these measures and making her kids' lives miserable in the process. So I think I'm going to end it there because I just can't. We reached the end of the episode anyway. I'm just going to leave it there. So what did you think? Have you watched the show before? Were there anybody else that kind of stuck out to you as being extreme cheapskates? Do you think anything that they're doing makes sense? Would you follow these kinds of rules of living? Let me know down in the comments. Also, let me know if there's any other sort of weird TLC type shows that you want me to take a look at, because these things are really fun because they like to be taken seriously, but they shouldn't. Also, make sure to like this video if you do like this kind of content. Lets me know that you like this and I should keep making more of them. And even if you don't like the video, I still will probably make more of them because I have fun. I give you the offering of a kitten. Whee!